I was on the Xanax. I had 10,000 of those things at the house.
10,000?
Because he was sending me 90 a month.
They just stockpiled them?
They were just going in the closet. Went to the doctor and he goes, what was that? I kept having these little panic attacks. Little panic attacks. So I started taking the Xanax. I'm eating 2,000 milligrams of THC and scaring the fuck out of myself. Then the Xanax calmed me down. Come on, man. That's not gonna work.
One of the reasons we domesticated wolves and created dogs out of them is because, for one thing, we understood them. They live in the same kind of circumstances we do in social groups. They have to acculturate their pups just the way we have to do with kids. I think part of the explanation for why dogs are our oldest domesticate is because of their ability to understand us, to understand human language. I mean, this is one of the theories for early domestication of wolves, is that there were some of them that were not only hypersocial and so amenable to being with humans, but also because there are some that were gifted word learners. We didn't have to learn their language, they learned our language.
Scientists who've looked at the aging process realize that the reason why we never understood aging is that aging is the buildup of error. That's what aging is, the buildup of mistakes in the replication of DNA. But what happens if you could put DNA in a computer? Then you can see where the aging takes place. And then we can begin perhaps to slow down the aging process, maybe even become immortal.
What about reversing it?
I
think that'd be a problem.
Everything's on the table because we're talking about changing the fabric of life itself. You know, the greatest quantum computer is Mother Nature. Think about it. How does Mother Nature do photosynthesis?
Yeah.
How does Mother Nature create trees and flowers out of nothing? Right. It's all chemicals and molecules. That's what quantum computers can do.
What is the next tallest thing we built? Stable structure after the pyramids.
What?
The Eiffel Tower.
Really?
Yes, late 1800s in Paris, the Eiffel Tower.
Huh.
That was the first stable structure we built as a civilization that was taller than the pyramids. So the Egyptians knew architecture. Those rocks are nowhere in the region. They found a place where those rocks were mined. And those are some big-ass rocks.
The thing about the pyramids that's so impressive is the precision and the sheer numbers. 2,600,000 stones.
Our best understanding of Stonehenge is that it's a functioning observatory that can actually predict eclipses.
Ever been around a Belgian Malinois? Those are the dogs that they use in war, police dogs. And they're fucking scary little meat missiles. And they look at you like this.
Yeah.
They're always thinking. And you can't just keep one of those motherfuckers in your yard. They're too smart. They're working dogs. First of all, they climb fences like a chimpanzee. And they just go right up the fence and over it.
Okay.
They can do shit where they leap through the air. Like, you can't fucking believe they really can jump that high. I'm talking like 12 feet in the air. They run, jump off a guy's back, and then leap through the air, like climb over walls that are like 10 feet tall just by running up the wall. It's insane. Darkest story that I ever heard. I don't know if this is true, but let's pretend it is. There was some sort of an expedition, and their boat hit some ice, and so their boat started sinking. And they had a real problem because the next boat was hours away. So they call in a mayday for the next boat, and they climb out of the boat in time before it sinks, and then they get to an ice shelter, an ice island. And in the distance, they see a polar bear.
Fuck.
And it's many, many ice land bridges or whatever the fuck.
Whatever ice distance that is.
Ice island away.
Ice steps.
But it keeps jumping in the water and getting closer.
Fuck, man.
It's trying to figure out what the fuck they are. And then finally it gets to them, finds out what they are. It's in the ice island next to them, jumps in the water, pops up, grabs one guy. There's nothing anybody can do about it.
Fuck.
Takes him, kills him, drags him in the water again, goes back on the other ice island, just starts eating him.
And they're just chilling, watching it.
And they're one ice island away, hoping that he doesn't stay hungry after he eats their friend. Watched a rat trip a mousetrap today. Watch this. This rat goes, he realizes that's a trap. There's a nice piece of cheese on it, so he brings a stick, and he trips the fucking trap. Come on, man. How smart are those little motherfuckers? That little tiny-ass brain. He's using tool. I mean, it's really incredible. He knows what he's doing. He didn't even freak out. Look, see how he reacted?
No, it didn't startle him at all.
At all.
Based on a true story, this guy, he gets convicted 10 years in prison for gun charges. This is all real. Larry Hall is his name in real life. They want to pin murders on him. They've kind of caught up to his game now. He would say to the police, oh, I murdered that girl in that county. I'm confessing to it. But then they would go through the research and be like, no, you couldn't have possibly. But he would cop to it, and then the cops would be like, that's what he does. He confesses to murders. He's a bullshitter. But he really was killing people. He was confessing to false ones so he could get away with the real ones.
Holy wild.
They got to get him to confess to one of these murders because they found the girl's body. Because he was killing kids, like 14-year-old girls, like brutal shit, raping them, horrific. So they say to this kid, look, you got the gift of gab. You got 10 years in federal prison. We're going to transfer you to this maximum security prison where Larry Hall is. If you can get him to confess to the murder of this girl that we have evidence on, your sentence is commuted immediately and you're out of prison. But he was in a minimum security prison, so he would be able to either coast through 10 years or take a chance and go to the prison with murderers, rapists, and potentially be murdered in the shower stall. But if he can get him to confess, then he'll get out.
Holy shit.
And that's what the show's
You really want to kill the most things, be a vegan. Because the farmers who protect your beans kill everything. I kill one animal per arrow. In order to grow tofu, you have to kill every ground squirrel, every vole, every shrew, every snake, every turtle, every frog, every bird, every rabbit. Anything that gets in that bean field, I'm either going to plow and dismember, and then if anything does survive my first slaughter, I'm going to come in with Monsanto and poison the shit out of everything so you can have a tofu salad and not be responsible for any death. Fuck you.
McEnroe got slapped all over the lot when he said about Serena Williams. She's great. Serena Williams is great and all. But if Serena Williams were he said she's the best female player ever. And they were like, well, why not just the best player ever? And he's like, because she's a woman. Like, if she were a man, she'd get her ass kicked. And everyone was like, no, how dare you? Right. There is something called the Universal Tennis Ranking. She would rank in the mid-ranks of college male players if she were a man. And Serena Williams had said like 5 years ago, no, I never want to play with like Andy Roddick. He'd kill me. She actually did this. There was a 200th ranked man in the world who she wanted to just warm up with. And they played a normal match he won 6-1, 6-0. Right, and he was like ranked 200th in the world, and the only shock was that he dropped a point to him.
Only place that has a wet, tropical, humid, high-density prey environment that doesn't have a massive snake is the Congo, Central Africa. But during World War II, there was a colonel who flew over there, and this was a well-respected colonel who him and his 2 passengers in the plane both reported a 100-foot-long snake. They flew over it once. They're like, wait a minute, what is that? Flew over it 2 more times to verify it and got so low to the ground that they said the snake struck at the airplane, and all 3 people, the pilot, this well-respected colonel, and the 2 passengers had the exact same story of this giant snake in Central Africa.
What are the negative benefit or the negative effects of this?
This is an explosive area of conversation. And that puts my life in danger. So I reserve the right not to answer the question.
Whoa. I didn't expect that. It puts your life in danger talking about portobello mushrooms? He's looking at me silently. I will respectfully move on.
Thank you.
So anybody who's interested, just Google that and get back to me. Remember salvia. And it is one of the most mind-blowing psychedelics known to man.
For 10 minutes, yeah.
It's fucking unbelievably powerful. Ari Shaffir did some on a podcast, and he lived an alternative life for 3 months. He had a family, he had jobs, he had friends, and then all of a sudden, he came back to reality. He just went into this place and lived another life. And he said that while he was out for 10 minutes, he lived like 3 months in a different world.
And then you have to wonder if that's the real one and this is the fake one.
Become that guy.
You know what? I grew up not that guy.
Yeah.
So a lot of people put a title on me. They see me now as the guy that with his shirt off who can do 4,030 pull-ups in 17 hours, who can run 205 miles in 39 hours, who can do all this crazy shit. But what they don't understand is they don't understand the journey that it took me to get to this point. And what got me to this point was I was just the opposite of what I am today. I was that guy who ran away from absolutely everything that got in front of me.